Hello, people. It's Tuesday already. Unbelievable. Tuesday, the whatever it is. This is the 18th. My goodness, this is the 18th of February. Can you believe it? 2025. Time is flying. Whew. It feels like yesterday was a flash in the pan. I hope you had a happy President's Day. If you were celebrating that, happy George Washington's birthday. To all my fellow folks who do have a reason or an extra reason to celebrate that day, if you know what I mean. And oh no way. Hello. 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 Yeah, let's go back, okay? All right. This cat. Come here. Come here. Let's go. No, don't go in the middle of the road. Come here, cat. That cat was following me quite far. Wow. Okay. Crazy. Come here. She's now going onto a construction site. No, oh, she'll be okay. Anyway. Sorry, you got distracted by an animal that had been following us quite a ways today. Now she's in a totally different location, but the amazing thing about cats is, maybe she's from here or maybe she's from there, and they can easily travel that distance many times in a day. Anyway, so sorry, I really got distracted there. I think of the welfare of animals, just as I do the welfare of people. So what's happening on the Bitcoin and crypto markets? Well, in Bitcoin land, we saw the assets do what I spoke about yesterday on the live stream. The asset basically did not manage to close the day. It tested after that little dip it had earlier in the day. In the live stream, I said, let's see if it tests the probabilities that are further to the downside, or the daily sell, or to the daily buy levels, or if it happens to go to the upside and possibly test the central weekly range and maybe even the central daily range again. And if it does, and then if it closes above it, that would be great. If the central daily range drops below the central weekly range, that may be good for a little while, but it's kind of not a great outlook if you're wanting the asset to generally move to the upside. You want the central daily range to keep rising above that central weekly range. And what happened with the asset? Well, it rose back up to that central weekly range and tested even the center of it. So it also tested that central daily range a little bit again for the nth time of the day. And then it proceeded to dump out before the end of the actual day. And what you had is you have the new daily now has the central daily range below the central weekly range, which is really what you don't want if you want the asset to go up. But now, excuse me, it's not like it's impossible for the asset to rise. Obviously, if the central daily range falls below the central weekly range, it certainly can. But there's a lot more work to be put in. Why? Well, because now you have more sell pressure underneath the central weekly range, right? Because now you got that top of the central daily range there, which is a sell pressure level. And you even got the center of the central daily range, which is also, it's a buy or sell level. But if you're below it, it's a sell level. Right? It's only once you're above it, it's a buy level. Right, so, and of course the whole center and the whole bottom and center of the weekly central range as well. So you basically you have more sell pressure, is what I'm saying. I really hope I'm not getting an extremely early dose of spring flora allergies. That would be terrible. But I would not be surprised, given how relatively dry the year was, that we could have a sudden burst with so many different kinds of pollens. And at least one of them does affect me, that I know of, which is a funny thing for me to even say. I never get over how funny that is to me. Hi. Hey, buddy. Yeah, to me many years ago, when I was a young and foolish man, actually even younger than that, when I was a young and foolish boy, I thought the idea of, well, I mean, I got why it happens, but I still thought it was kind of funny to be allergic to pollens in the air. And then one day it happened to me. And I still think it's funny. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. What do you mean I'm allergic to a thing that a flower sheds and it blows in the air? What kind of nonsense is that? It's true. Anyway, I know, very off topic. So what happened to Solana? Well, Solana made a similar droopy droop for a good chunk of the day. And then once traditional markets opened, and eventually we got onto our live stream, and I pointed out, same thing, if it could, if it was going to retest levels to the downside, I pointed out the daily buy levels where it could easily target, or if it was going to bounce back up and test the central daily range again, those would be targets. And also, if it could bust through that, then possibly you could get up to the first daily sell level above the central daily range, for example. Well, the probabilities were on Solana to the downside, and it proceeded to go in that direction. And meme coins that are pegged to it also proceeded to do the same thing, right? A lot of them did drop nicely as well. So was that a surprise at all? No, not at all. That was in fact very much expected. And the targets that were hit were pretty spot on, in fact, right? I mean, if you look at Bitcoin's target, nailed it. It tagged that central weekly range very nicely by around the end of traditional market day. And then the Solana went in the complete opposite direction and also dragged its central daily range to the downside, thus securing more sell pressure for ye old bears to stock up on. And last I looked at it, it was pretty dumpy, like 175 or so. You got to remember, this asset was at like 294 like a month ago, right? I think a month ago. It was literally like, I think it was January 17th. It was like $294. It's now almost half off. So I mean, you like your discount Solana, you're gonna like it a lot now, right? It's question is, how long will you hold on to it, right? If you're holding it, where is your sell level? You don't think that the ones that move the markets are able to move the market enough to make you sell? Well, they definitely can. Remember, Solana went from a high of 260 in like 2021 or whatever it was, early 22. I forget when. The previous all-time high, down to $8 after the FTX crash. Just to give you a point of reference in time, I'm not saying that's why it went to 8, but it went down to $8. And now it's been 2 years and a couple of months since that FTX crash, which was in like November of 2022. And today, the 18th of February, right, which we already said, beginning of the video, 2025. So that's literally just like 2 years and a few months, like 2.25 years, almost to the day, since the FTX collapse, since lots of people lost a lot of funds. I don't know if you noticed this, but they've actually recovered basically all of it and then some. And the amount of money that people have made by having their funds held for them is pretty significant. It's ironic. It's like, wait a minute, they had their money taken from them without permission. Yes. And then they thought it was lost. Yes. But then they managed to recover part of it. Yes. And then they managed to recover more of it. Yeah. And then they managed to recover eventually all of it. Yeah. And then it turns out they had a higher recovery rate than anyone expected, right? They recovered in full, apparently, the financial value a long time ago, because shortly after FTX collapsed, right, within really just a few months, the assets were pretty much back. Like Bitcoin was ripping back to the upside, right? Starting a month and a half after FTX collapsed, it was ripping to the upside and started the colossal bull run of 2023 and the beginning of 2024, and now also the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, right? So it has had, all the assets have seen significant upside. Are there some people who might be slightly in the red because they bought at Solana's all-time high previously, and now it's below that again? Like they bought it at a 260 high back in 21 or 22, whenever that was, and they held on to their bag when FTX went under. Well, maybe there's some. Maybe there's even a bunch. But the majority of people who are holding pretty much any asset that was traded on an FTX, including Solana and Bitcoin and other coins, are very likely in a tidy profit, right? I certainly know people who were holding a bunch of Solana over there who unfortunately got wrecked when Solana went under. And they never thought they'd get back any of their money. But apparently today is the beginning of their deliverance. And there's some billions of dollars awaiting to be unloaded onto the market now. I think it's like 11 or 18 billion or something like that. You gotta remember, they lost, whatever it was, 2 billion, 8 billion, whatever the number was. I don't think it was 8 billion, but anyway. And now they have recouped all those lost monies somehow through diligent effort and because blockchain, which also denotes just how much of a patsy SBF was, right? Because as bad of a guy as he was in terms of what he did, and he definitely did bad things with his silly girlfriend and his other employees, his girlfriend / CFO of his other company, with other people's money. It's important to remember like very important to remember, that what they did actually pales in comparison to what a lot of people do in these markets. And I hate to say it like that, but it's entirely true. Like, there's plenty of people with much bigger bags who have done far worse. And I mean, if you're waiting for me to point out Jamie Dimon, well, I just did. Oh, but how can you say that about Jamie Dimon? He's such a great guy. Listen, he may be a great guy personally. I don't know. I've heard stories. But that has nothing to do with his ability to manage a massive financial institution and not screw over the little guy, which he definitely has done. Hey, buddy. So, an big institute, you know, like any of them really. Who are they looking out for? Are they looking out for the little guy? Or are they looking out for themselves? I think you know the answer. I don't think I have to tell you. If I have to tell you, I don't think you get it. And I don't think that you don't get it. I think you definitely get it. So, just bear in mind that your best interests do not match the best interests of banks, the predators, really. Keep that in mind, right? These banks, like, they don't have the same interest as you. They don't have the same. They don't care about that. If they did care, they keep loaning the money that the Fed gives them, right? It's literally like more than 100 times. I think the last measurement of that, like an updated measurement, was an average of around 149 times. If you give a bank $1, it'll lend it out like 149 times. But it's a ridiculous number even to calculate, because really they'll just lend it out an infinite number of times as long as they can stay in business. If you're aware of this, but North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, also got hit really hard by what happened in 20 to the world. Like, they couldn't receive humanitarian aid at the same amounts. It was a disaster. It was an S show, as you might call it. And that's what happened. Right? It wasn't fun for anyone. It was really quite a terrible time. So, people are still recovering from that. Funny, because for like some people had the most amazing year in 2020, financially, right? Maybe not in other ways, but financially. But then in preceding years, proceeding years, began to suffer tremendously because that's going to do for now, folks. Look for the look for the VAPs to move the assets along to the big obvious targets today, as we do every day. That's why we trade on low time frames. And I'll catch you in the Alpha Trading live stream. There will be the one-day President's Day sale is over on Alpha Trading, by the way. But there's supposed to be another sale in March for St. Patrick's Day. So look out for that one. Don't know if there'll be any before that. And I don't know when the next one will be after that. It's probably going to be a little while. So if you missed yesterday's sale for whatever reason and you want to get the Alpha Trading products or services at a discount, then, well, you got to wait now until March. But even so, they're still extremely affordable, in my opinion. All right. Talk to you later. Happy trading. Cheers.